Hello Biafrans and lovers of freedom. Welcome to Biafra Battle Cry TV, under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB leader. Be part of history, every voice matters. Watch as everyday Nigerians speak truth to power and rally behind the hashtag #FreeNamdiKanu movement.
Have always identified ourselves as Igbos. Of course, there were two reasons why, for so many, almost like centuries, we were kept at the back burner, kind of confined to Western Nigeria, and why most people from, or some people from my area, seem to have gotten to the point where they were not sure whether they were Igbos or not Igbos. But majority of us understand who we are and understand where we've come from. And let me just explain what I mean. There are, during the war, the Civil War, most people, we had the Asaba massacre. After the Asaba massacre and the rest of the killings within our area, we were told as kids that if you see Nigerian soldiers, you must not admit that you are Igbo. You must tell them that you're from Benin or that you are Yoruba. These are kind of things that we had to do to survive. But I mean, not least, of course, the release of Nnamdi Kanu. They're asking for it. We know that that is something that has to be done. You would just say
Nnamdi Kanu to be
oh yes, yeah, of course.
Why do you think so?
Nnamdi Kanu has been in custody for some time now. I believe that he has been held unjustly. Many people feel that way.
As a lawyer, do you think so?
Oh yes, yes.
That the judicial process is unjust?
Yes. Yeah, no, it has been. There's a lot of delays in prosecuting him and all that. If you want to get him tried and convicted, get on with it. But this is a guy who has been held unjustly, as I said, for so many months.
And the Buhari government started it.
I'm not talking about this government.
Trial. No, so the point I'm even making now.
I'm talking about the previous government under Buhari.
When it's facing a judicial process right now.
Yes.
Saying it's unjust because the argument is that there should be a political solution, maybe a null prosecution. Prosecution should be established on that for the case to be withdrawn. But there are those who say, well, there are allegations and it's left for the law for him to have his day in court, which is in process.
But as you know, there has been some pronouncements by the Federal High Court, which has not been respected. So his incarceration is the main reason for the crisis in Southeast.
This time, with renewed calls for the creation of Anioma State out of the present Delta region, or Delta State, now the Delta North Central District of Delta State. Well, at the National Assembly, lawmakers are revisiting the long-standing demand for new state in Lagos. As you will see, some of the pictures is just part of the ongoing efforts to address issues of equity, representation, and administrative balance across the federation. Proponents of Anioma State have argued that the move would not only correct perceived historical imbalances, but also strengthen local governance and regional identity. The latest agitation now comes as the Constitutional Review Committee begins fresh hearings on memorandum from across the country. Well, we understand that coming from that meeting that you saw in Lagos, there's a lot of agreement that has been reached about the way forward. Possibility is now looking stronger than ever for a possibility of an Anioma State. But now, there is going to be something to give and something to take. It means then that there's a possibility for other regions of the country to have their own state. But how would this play out in the whole scheme of things? One of the major proponents of these and the pusher in the National Assembly is a senator representing Delta North in the National Assembly, Senator Ned Nwoko, who is live for us here. Senator, thanks so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Your face has been all over the media in the last few days.
It happens.
For personal family reasons.
It happens.
I hope everything is calm.
Well, we are trying to manage the situation.
Yeah?
Yes.
You're a man of many parts.
Yes.
People underestimate you, though.
Oh, do they?
Your capacity.
Well, I am who I am.
You're an Old Testament man.
Yes, I am.
But everything is on the camera right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's not the business of the day, so let's go to the business of the day. Why are you advocating? You are the major pusher, especially on the floor of the Senate. And you have argued with your colleagues the need for an anonymous state. And don't even begin the conversation around marginalization, because that's the first thing, because people will say, we have Southwest 6 states, South, 6 states, Northeast 6 states, North Central 6 states, Northwest 7 states, but Southeast 5 states. Is that part of the agenda to fix the Southeast that seems to be smaller in terms of the number of states, or what?
Well, almost just over a year ago, I had a meeting with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, where I discussed about the problems of Southeast, the insecurity in Southeast. You know, what do we do to address it? And he knows the problems, and he also has an idea. The whole idea is that there should be some level of equity extended to the Igbos of Southeast by having an additional state. It wasn't going to be an easy task, you know, to create one, but it is doable. And I'm happy that we have come this far. The point is this: even at that time, it was understood that the problems of Southeast, the agitations of the youths of Southeast, the killings there, the referring to the ESN groups and ESN and IPOB and the rest of them. These are young people who have come up to say that they are fighting for freedom because they are marginalized. And one of the areas that they've all spoken about and against is the fact that they are the only zone. Southeast is the only zone in Nigeria that has 5 states. Why is that? Why was it done intentionally to undermine them? Of course, yes. And from engaging those youths, it became so obvious that if a step is taken in creating one state, just one state, to bring it apart with the 5 other zones, let's leave Northwest out of this now, at least bring it apart to the 4 other zones, then something would have been done for them. You know, yes, they are clamoring for different things, but I mean, not least, of course, the release of Nnamdi Kanu. They're asking for it. We know that that is something that has to be done. You know, it was just
Nnamdi Kanu to be
released. Yes, yeah, of course.
Why do you think so?
Nnamdi Kanu has been in custody for some time now. I believe that he has been held unjustly. Many people feel that way.
As a lawyer, do you think so?
Oh yes.
That the judicial process is unjust?
Yes. Yeah, no, it has been. There's a lot of delays in prosecuting him and all that. If you want to get him tried and convicted, get on with it. You know. But this is a guy who has been held unjustly, as I said, you know, for so many months.
And the Buhari government started it.
I'm not talking about this government.
Trial. No, so the point I'm even making now.
I'm talking about the previous government under Buhari. When
it's facing a judicial process right now.
Yes.
Saying is just because the argument is that there should be a political solution, maybe a null prosecution. Prosecution should be established on that for the case to be withdrawn. But there are those who say, well, there are allegations and it's left for the law for him to have his day in court, which is in process.
But as you know, there has been some pronouncements by the Federal High Court, which has not been respected. You know, so his incarceration is the main reason for the crisis in Southeast.
But the crisis started before he was even arrested.
No.
The killings, the burning of police station, the killing of police officers and all whatnot.
Well, look, the problem in Southeast is very different from what is in the Northeast or Northwest and all those areas. You know, the problem in the Southeast has to do with the perceived injustice by governments, successive governments. So what needs to be done? And one of it's why I'm here today, you know, talking about the creation of states to make up the number up to 5. And then you have the release of Nnamdi Kanu. By the time you do these two things, I am almost certain that peace will return to Southeast.
Let me ask you this question.
I have spoken to so many youths in Southeast, from Southeast, and they have assured me that that they are prepared to be engaged by us, by the leadership. You know, when this is done, they don't want to die. The youths don't want to die. They want to go back to schools. They want to go back to their jobs. All they want is some level of respect and acknowledgement by the nation, by the government of Nigeria.
I want to ask you, and this exists in almost every region of the country, where you have your brothers in different states and all whatnot. Are there Igbos outside of the 5 states of the Southeast in Nigeria today?
Well, I'm surprised you're asking.
No, because for the sake of our...
Yes, for the sake of your listeners.
Yeah.
Let me say this. When it was Western Nigeria, when we had Western Nigeria, I'm sure you've heard of some people being described as Western Igbos. Subsequently, when Midwest was created, by referendum, as you know, they were called Midwest Igbos. Then the name changed to Bendel. They were called Bendel Igbos. And of course, Delta came up with the Edo State, and now they're called the Delta Igbos. And that is the Anyomas, the people, our people.
9 local government
areas.
In that senatorial district.
And we are almost completely Igbos. Of course, there are arguments about some areas, some people have come from Igala or come from Benin. But the fact is that, according to Delta State gazetted laws, there are only 5 ethnic groups in Delta. The Yorubas, the Igbos, the Ejos, the Shekiris, and the Isokos. There's no mention of Benin. There's no mention of Yorubas or also within Delta North.
Apart from Delta North, there are those who say, and you might be touching the wrong nerve here. In River State, for example, there are Igbos there.
Oh, of course, yeah.
The Ikweres.
Opobos.
Or the Opobos.
They're everywhere. Igbos are everywhere. Igbos actually.
So if you create, for example, are you hoping that they will join the Anoma State, or Anoma State is going to solely from your proposition and the literature that they have put forward, is going to be solely from the 9 local government areas of Delta North?
Look, initially, my bill was centered around the 9 local government areas of Delta North. And however, a lot has happened since then. But if you look at the explanatory note to my bill, it talks about the Anyoma State to become the 6th state of the Southeast, the 37th state of the country.
Does the Southeast, so the 5 states in the Southeast see you as Igbos?
Of course, yes.
And I've heard, I don't speak much of Igbo, but I've heard
I can tell you, look,
the funkified Igbos of the Anomas.
No. Every language has dialects. Every language, even Yorubas, from Lagos to Oyo to...
Even the Enugu Igbo is different from the Abia Igbo, is different from the Onitsha Igbo.
Yes. But we are all Igbos. Anyoma is historically an Igbo enclave. And there's no doubt about that. From our names to our language, to our culture, our tradition, our food, everything is Igbo. You know, and we have always identified ourselves as Igbos. Of course, there were 2 reasons why, for so many, almost like centuries, we were kept at the back burner, kind of confined to Western Nigeria. And why most people some people from my area seem to have gotten to the point where they were not sure whether they were Igbos or not Igbos. But majority of us understand who we are and understand where we've come from. And let me just explain what I mean. There are, during the war, the Civil War, most people, you know, we had the Asaba massacre. After the Asaba massacre, and the rest of the killings within our area, we were told as kids that if you see Nigerian soldiers, you must not admit that you are Igbo. You must tell them that you're from Benin or that you are Yoruba. These are kind of things that we had to do to survive the ethnic cleansing that happened at that time. So, of course, there was also this issue of Benin Empire. You know, at the time there was a Benin Empire where, you know, Benin at its height extended their tentacles to our area. So much so that some people began to think that they were Benis. But we're not Benis, we're Igbos. And there's nothing Benin about us.
So you have people from Agbo, yes, from Kwale, part of, I'm looking at the major areas of the north, the north now that we now seed into what will now be called Anioma state. The question is, the Ukwani people, they are opposing it.
No, they are not. No.
And have you heard some of the leaders who say they are vehemently opposing it?
They're just some vocal guys who are saying that they don't oppose the creation of Anioma state. Let me say this such a way. I don't know any Anioma person, man or woman, who is opposed to the creation of Anioma state. Some of them say, they don't want to be part of Southeast because they are not Igbos. But they are just few and far between. There are very few of them.
Out of the 9 local governments.
Out of the 9 local governments.
How many of those are Igbo speaking?
All of them.
Of the 9?
All of them. We all speak Igbo.
Ukwani don't speak Igbo.
Oh, they do.
Ukwani people they majorly speak Igbo.
No, they speak Igbo. Ukwani speak Igbo. The Ikas speak Igbo. They call it the Igbo, as you know.
Igbo, yeah.
And there is no Anioma son or daughter without an Igbo name. You ask yourself.
Is there a general consensus of all the 9 local government areas?
To create Anioma, of course, yes. But this has been a long-standing agitation. As you know, it didn't start with me. It started with the second Senate President and Federal Government of Nigeria, Sir Dennis Osadebe, you know, so many years ago, over 70 years ago.
But economically speaking, Senator, how do we defend this? We're already complaining that we have to overbloated government.
We've gone beyond that. You know, Delta North is rich economically. We out of the 9 local government areas, 6 of those local government areas are oil and gas producing. And
Anioma can feed itself.
Anioma,
is that what you're
of course,
saying?
completely.
What are the potentials?
I've just told you. We have
apart from oil and gas.
We have huge deposits of oil and gas. That is a lot because we have the largest gas deposit in Africa. You should know that. In the nation.
Yeah.
Then, of course, we have agricultural lands. We have Delta North is the home of Nollywood. I'm sure you know that. And we have most of the big businesses in Nigeria, the television houses or media are from, or banking sector are from Anioma. I'm sure you know that. You know, so we are more than self-sufficient.
Are the Delta people happy with this plan?
But we've gone beyond this.
No,
now.
the reason is that
let me tell you, we've gone beyond this now because at the retreat 2 days ago in Lagos, the consensus between the House and the Senate committees on constitutional amendment is that there should be one state for Southeast
to make it
6.
So we have 37.
Yes, and then after that, then there will be one state per zone to make it 7-7 to bring it apart with Northwest.
Well, I'm not sure Nigerians are happy with more states. The ones that we have, at some point they were they couldn't feed themselves. They couldn't pay salaries. Now we're going to be creating. How do you convince the average Nigerian that really creation of state is the way to go?
Are you aware that in Delta State, for example, that we have the largest allocation every month? Largest allocation for FAC. Are you aware of that? And this comes from oil and gas resources. Delta North has almost 40% of that allocation. And that 40% is more than what you have in maybe Ebonyi or in Enugu or in Zamfara. So we are much more ready than most current states. We have the resources. That's not the issue.
So as a lawyer, quickly, because we're due for another break, as a lawyer, if you look at the position of the Constitution in state creation, in delineation, boundary adjustment, and local government creation, it's very clear of how, the processes on how to create a state. Have you met that criteria as stipulated by the Constitution, where the Constitution stipulates that there will be a referendum in the areas, in all of the areas, where this state creation proposition is coming from? Have you been able to meet that?
Of course, yes. Referendum will come in the next few weeks, I'm sure, or months. Certainly before, almost certainly before the end of the year. We've gotten the guidelines, and for this particular creation of a Anoma state, the referendum will not be limited to just the 9 local government areas. It will extend to all the 5 southeastern states, because we are trying to take the slot that belongs to southeastern states.
Why are you so passionate about this?
Because it's an agitation that's been 70-something years. But by our forefathers, by
what
our
if this
fathers,
fails, if it doesn't happen?
Well, it's life. You know, at least we would have tried our best. But who would have thought that we would have gotten to where we are now? Who would have thought so? So it's something that our forefathers fought for. They traveled and traversed across the country trying to, lobby, trying to, ask others to support them. But now we're doing it from within National Assembly, through a bill, as I said, and there is really nothing that will stop it.
All right, give me a moment. We need to go on the break. But when we come back, in truth, if this goes through and passes through all of the processes of lawmaking in the National Assembly, what are the implications? Will these douse all of the agitation and quiet the noises coming from the southeast region of the country? What are the dynamics politically, economically, and culturally? We'll be right back after this break, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone. Senator Ned Nwoko has been pushing for a Neoma state alongside some member of the National Assembly. But is this personal for him? Is it one that everyone has keyed into, or he's just acting all by himself in all of this? How far would this go? Senator, in all of this, what gives you the optimism that this is going to be successful?
I am an optimist generally, and there's really nothing that I've put my mind to that I've not achieved. I remember many years ago, I told them I wanted to build a sports university. They said, but why sports university? And I said, look, there's need for a sports university. Many people didn't believe it would happen, but now we are in our 3rd year running. Many years ago, I said I wanted to go to Antarctica. People said, why do you want to go to Antarctica? Nobody goes there. And I did, just to prove a point. And then, of course, when I started to work on the Paris Club reforms, people said, but it's not possible to take British government to court. It's not possible to take American government to court or the French. I said, well, it is doable. And I did.
You have done so many impossible things.
Of course, yes.
So this, personally, you have done many impossible things.
Tell me what it is. But
you married 4 wives. That's almost impossible. Isn't it?
That's another
kettle of...
another topic for
discussion. We need a lecture on how you can be able to achieve that.
Every man should do that. Every man should do that.
The Bible does not prescribe that.
Oh, the Old Testament does. Old Testament.
So you're a man of Old Testament.
I am a man of
planning to marry more?
I'm a man of faith. Yes.
You're planning to marry more?
Well, look, that's not what you're here for.
I'm just asking. By the way, you have 4. How did you achieve that? That's incredible.
Well, I'm sure you have a wife. But you also have girlfriends. That's the difference.
I don't actually.
Come on,
I'm a Christian, 1 wife. That's what the Bible preaches.
I will make some research. Do some research about you.
Please do. Find out. But in all of this, how do you manage it? Because it's incredibly difficult to even manage being with a partner. Not talk of 1, 2, 3, and 4. You don't have any regrets.
The example I gave is this. Just imagine telling you to stand on one foot, on one leg. You know how difficult it is. But to stand on 2, 3, 4 is much more balanced. That's just the example I gave.
Wow.
Do you understand it? So I feel sorry for those who have one wives, because it's difficult to stand on one leg.
And you don't have any regrets?
No.
If you have your way, you still marry more.
I will do the same thing again
and again.
Of course, yes.
And you have a knack of marrying beautiful women.
Wow.
And young ones too.
This is the way it is. And that's the way it should be.
But you're not the ones that beat them.
You should marry who you want to marry.
You're not the one that beats them.
No, come on. I am not a violent person. I respect my wives. I love them. And I love my kids. No, not at all. Not at all.
All right. So the impossibility brought us there. That's the topic. The impossibility brought. There are those who say, legally speaking, procedurally, this is almost impossible.
No, it is not. What is impossible about it? I remember when I discussed it with the president, as I was saying before, he assured me before I left PDP to APC that he will support it as long as we at the National Assembly are able to do our work. And our work is almost done, because by the time we get to the third reading and then the referendum, the president will take it from there.
A referendum is an expensive task. It's like an election.
It is a plebiscite.
Yeah, it's a plebiscite.
And it will be done.
It will be conducted in Delta.
And the 5 states of
the Southeast.
Of course, yes.
And you think that will happen?
Of course it will happen. It's a process.
The National Assembly has to, the houses of assembly have to concur.
Yeah, of course. Those are the least of the problems. Because at the right time, Mr. President will call the governors and tell them to append their signatures.
The reason why I recall your legal your expertise or training is the fact that in the last 27 years, the last person that is able to create a state is the military. And if you look at the section of the Constitution that states the creation of states, local government, boundary adjustment, and all of that, it makes it extremely difficult to be able to add to what we have in existence. And that's why a lot of lawyers, a lot of legal minds will tell you it's almost an impossibility to happen.
What the Constitution has done is to provide for steps to be taken, provide for things to be done, and you just follow them. For example, this president is very strategic, and he has done wonderful things. And I know he will still do many wonderful things. But the most important thing that he would have done for us, the Anyomas and the Igbos, generally, is to give them that one state. Something that, as you said rightly, that no other civilian administration has done. So he will do it. He will do it because he understands what to do.
And you had this discussion with the president.
Yeah, he will do it because he feels that there must be peace in Southeast. Mr. President understands, and he loves the Igbos, he loves Southeast. He knows that this has to be done to bring peace. He wants peace across Nigeria. And he knows that this is one thing that is needed to bring peace and justice to the Igbos.
Anthropologically, there are those who will argue otherwise, who will say, anthropologically, there's no link between Anioma and the Southeast. Anioma still reside anthropologically, culturally, and ideologically in the South-South.
I've just told you that South-South was just a recent creation. Before then, I just told you how we were described as Western Igbos, as Midwestern Igbos, as Bendel Igbos, and now Delta Igbos. So what do they call us Igbos? And as I told you, we all have Igbo names. We all have Igbo culture. We know. Look, I spent 5. Mine is Chinedu, but everybody call me Ned from Ned. Nedu. There's no. Do you have any Igbo or any Anioma person in this country?
I'm very sure we do.
Ask them their Igbo name. They'll tell you their Igbo name. And was there any time of war of conquest by Igbos across the Niger that they came to conquer us and that compelled us to bear Igbo names? No. Our market days are 4 market days, they what to have, and that's exactly what they have in Southeast. And the history is the same.
Let me quickly ask you this. When you say the Onitsha word for come is Bia, how does an Anoman person say?
Bia neighbor, Bia Beni or Bia neighbor. Look, when an Ndoko man speaks, I understand. They also understand me. When an Nika person speaks, we understand each other. I just told you there are different dialects. London, for example, has different dialects. From east of London to west of London to south of London to they all have different dialects.
Senator,
they all speak English.
Senator, we're totally out of time. I'd like to get your final thoughts.
Anioma will be done as a state in Southeast, and that will bring peace to Southeast, because some of my people are worried about the unrest in Southeast, and I'm assuring them that there will be peace in Southeast once an Anoma state is created as the choice of the of the Igbos. Now, what has happened is that the National Assembly Committee has put together a committee to decide on which state to choose from. There are about 7 states from Southeast, and we are one of those states, because we at the public hearing we also presented our case in Enugu. So I am sure, I'm almost certain,
totally out of time.
I'm almost certain that we will be chosen.
All right. Senator Chinedu, otherwise I know Senator Ned Nwoko. Thank you so much indeed for
Thank
that.
you.
I appreciate it.
It's not going on.
No, it won't happen.
It won't happen. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen that way at all.
Thank you very much.
These are the things that the public must understand. Most of you journalists, the legal correspondents, you don't take time to actually study some of these rulings and judgments. Go and study. In fact, I'll give you this
Bring the envelope.
Give it to me. Yes, where is it? I'll give it to her because I think she's a bit more.
Give her the sugar judgment.
Can you hold this for me?
She can.
I want to let the whole world understand something very, very clear. In all this is the judgment of the Supreme Court. It made it very clear that even that the impartiality of the judge is questionable.
Suspect.
And it's here. Where is it? Please do bear with me. It says it here. What is it, page? What is that again? Where it says all these things are online. Is it on page 18? All these things are online. So I suggest that the journalists in this country actually take out time to do some basic research. It's not difficult, just minor research. You will understand the virtuousness, the emptiness of all the charges against me.
Okay.
They kept switching the charges. Yes. They said I committed this crime in England, isn't it? Yes. I made a broadcast in England.
Yes.
And in 9 charges leveled against me, this place where I committed this crime was London, in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
When my lawyers came to see me, I had a discussion with them about how I'm going to defend myself.
They removed it.
I told them that no court in Nigeria has jurisdiction to try me.
They removed that long.
Because since this offense was committed in England, so they said, it's only a UK court that can give a Nigerian court the authority to proceed, isn't it?
Yeah, based on that, they removed London.
Based on that, they now amended the charge again and removed London.
Location of the broadcast.
Location of the broadcast. Contrary to section 196?
174 of the Terrorism Prevention Act 2022.
In violation of their own laws. In violation of their own laws. And you want me to stand trial under such circumstances? Is that possible? Nnamdi Kanu to stand trial where all these shenanigans are going on? It's not possible.
You've asked Justice Binta to recuse herself. Yes. Do you have that time on your hands for the case to go to the CEJ for it to be reassigned to another judge?
As long as justice will be done at the end of the day. That's what bothers me. For justice to be done. I cannot be tried in violation of a key provision of the Constitution of Nigeria, Section 36. It's as simple as that.
But now she's saying the part of the topic I'm making reference to was a contributory statement by one of the justices.
The Constitution of Nigeria says any determination made by the Supreme Court is binding on a lower court. So I was actually surprised that a high court have refused to obey or abide by the determination of a Supreme Court judgment.
And then take the only part that is against him and then refuse to apply the part that is in favor of him.
This cherry picking of what was contained in the Supreme Court judgment is what I'm against. Yes, that's correct. It should be implemented holistically.
Yes.
I'm not against facing any trial. After all, I'm innocent,
Yes,
so they have not been against me. But there cannot be any trial when key sections of the Constitution and a key Supreme Court judgment has been violated by a court of law.
So you'll be patient for the case to go back and come back to the court?
This is my 4th year in solitary confinement in detention. The 5th year will not kill me.
Sorry, what of it is...
We have many of that.
Mr. Kanu, one last question. Mazi, one last question. With reference to what she has asked earlier, Justice Binta made it known that she's one of the senior judges in this court.
Yes.
What if...
And I have respect and love for her. She knows.
What if this case comes back to her? Because she said no other person...
It is not possible. This persecution of the Igbo people, this orchestrated almost global persecution of the people stops with me. It cannot happen. It can never happen.
Hello Biafrans and lovers of freedom. Welcome to Biafra Battle Cry TV, under the leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, IPOB leader. Be part of history, every voice matters. Watch as everyday Nigerians speak truth to power and rally behind the hashtag Free Nnamdi Kanu Now movement.